Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Can hear. Can see.
So today we are going to cover about the study about the pure substances, right? So you can see the writings now, yellow color. I think
Yes.
yellow color is
Yes, sir.
okay for you, right? Okay, right. So because when you are covering your any other related thermodynamics applications, you should know about the substances. Okay, so in nature there are variety of substances are there, variety of substances in different phases. So if you take major phases for your substances, principal phases are three. So either that substance can be in solid state or liquid or gaseous phase, isn't it? So such thing you know. So we will study little bit more about these substances. So actually we are going to cover the pure substance. Okay, pure substance. Okay, let's start from what is a pure substance. Then the different phases of the substances. Okay, then phase changing of substances, those kind of stuff. Okay, then how you can apply those different phases and properties of these substances in your whatever the thermodynamics analysis or designing or understanding of a system, whatever. Okay, pure substances. Okay, so actually we are going to cover about the properties of pure substances. So let's consider what is a pure substance. Okay, what is a pure substance? A pure substance that has a fixed chemical composition, right, throughout. So that means a chemical composition throughout the system or whatever the substance existence, right? So if you take a water, so that chemical composition will not change. So that is H2O, no? That will not change. Nitrogen mean N2, helium mean helium, and carbon dioxide. For these are some examples. So if you take water's chemical composition will not change. Okay, so that will not be a H or something. Okay, if you say HO like that minus, then that is a different composition, right? That is a different composition. If you take a water, all water molecules will be H2O composition. Okay, so if you mix something with the water, that won't be a pure, right? So likewise, N2, helium, normal pure substances are there. Also, not only these fixed chemical compositions are the pure substance. Okay, so mixture of various chemical elements or compounds also qualifies as a pure substance as long as the mixture is homogeneous. So if you take a air, right? If you take air in 1 atm pressure and room temperature or whatever, air has oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, oh, so many other argon, so many gases are there. Okay, so if you take air, that is a mixture of various chemical compositions, right? But still air is a pure substance in given pressure. Okay, given atmospheric pressure, because the mixture is homogeneous. So If you take air from some given place or random places, the composition of this, so normally N2 is 78 percentage, O2 is 20 percentage, like that, no? So those composition will not change. That is homogeneous in everywhere. That won't change. But if you compress your air, if you compress air, when the pressure is increasing, okay, so firstly the water vapor in the air will condensate, right? So you can feel that one, those stuff in when you are compressing the air, isn't it? So such problems are there. Then that will condensate and those will separate, or different phenomena will be happen. So when that exceed the pressure, like that, this will happen. So at that time, this is not a pure substance. Okay. So as long as the mixture is homogeneous only, the air is pure substance that can be applied for any mixtures, right? So a mixture of two or more phases of a pure substance is still a pure substance. Okay. So as long as the chemical composition of the phases is the same, right? So for example, take a cup of water. Take a cup of water. Just put some ice cubes there, right? Just put some ice cubes there. So this water is liquid, ice cube is solid. Okay, this water is liquid and ice cube is solid. So here two phases are there, right? Two phases, liquid phase and solid phase is there. But it's still this mixture. Okay, this is a mixture, isn't it? This is not a homogeneous mixture. This is just a mixture, but the chemical composition is not changed. H2O is same for both phases, right? Still the chemical composition is same for the all phases. So this is also called as pure substance. Okay, this is also a pure substance. So this can be, you can apply this one to any substances. Okay, this is just I gave the example for the water, right? So you can argue with other stuffs. Okay, I think when you are studying this air conditioning or the refrigeration, so such times you should use these knowledges of the pure substances there, right? Phases of pure substance, as we discussed earlier, principal phases for the substances is three: solid, liquid, and gas. But there are different phases. Okay, so within a principal phases, so there could be different molecular structure. Okay, there could be different. If you take carbon, okay, if you take carbon, carbon will exist in the nature in graphite, okay, or diamond. Okay, so carbon can exist in graphite or diamond. So this graphite's molecular structure is different and this one is different. Okay, so in the solid phase, carbon is in graphite phase also and diamond phase also, right? Likewise, if you take water, if you take water in solid phase, that will take 7 phases. Okay, water in solid phase, this water will get 7 phases like this. Okay, likewise, so many stuffs are there, right? For each and every chemical components that might take different phases in a single, or within a single principal phase, right? So you can see this water and this liquid water and ice cube mixture. In this mixture, you can simply see the phase difference with the molecular structure. Okay, so this ice cubes molecular structure is different, and this liquid water molecular interconnection is different. Okay, so the arrangement of the molecules, okay, molecule structure is same, but the arrangement is different. So you can see the surface, there is a boundary. Okay, surface boundary of the different phase clearly, isn't it? So normally these are some arrangements of your 3 different principal phases: solid, liquid, and gas, right? Solid, liquid, and gas. In solid, we tell the arrangement of these molecules as lattice. Okay, this is called as lattice. So they are very closely packed. Okay, so they are very closely packed, and their intermolecular forces are high. Okay, the bond between molecules, intermolecular bonds are very strong, thus they are very close, right? But if you take a gas, there is no intermolecular bonds. Okay, they are moving randomly. When they are meeting this in the gaseous phase, so the space between each and every molecules are very larger than the molecular size, right? So when they are meeting in is only when there is a collision between molecules. Okay, otherwise they are not going to meet. Okay, they move just randomly. But liquid is comparing to gas, that has strong intermolecular bond, but comparing to solid, this has less intermolecular forces, right? So when you are giving a heat, okay, so when you are giving a energy for this solid phase, right? When you are giving a energy, so that energy can break the intermolecular bond between this lattice. Okay, intermolecular bond. Okay, the energy can break the intermolecular bond between these molecules in the lattice. Okay, when that kind of energy is given, right, this interconnection will break. Okay, when they are breaking, that is the starting of melting. Okay, we are saying that melting. Okay, likewise, when you are giving enough energy to break the molecular bonds between this liquid phase molecules, then this will start to evaporate. Okay, evaporation. Okay, when we are removing enough energy from this gaseous phase, okay, so that energy can create a bond between two molecules, then that is a starting of condensation. Likewise, when we are removing energy from there, okay, energy from the liquid phase, so that the bond can be created, okay, so that the bond can be created to make a lattice, okay, so that is the solidifying. That's called as solidifying. So we can say that this gas has higher or highest energy, right? So comparing to liquid or gas, this solid lattice has lower energy. Okay, why lower energy and this one is higher energy? Because of the movement. Okay, because of the movement. So in the liquid phase, so the intermolecular bonds are there, but the molecules are free to move anywhere. Okay, molecules can move free to move anywhere. But in the lattice, if the molecules are fixed, if it is fixed in a position, that can't be changed, right? So but in the gaseous phase, you know, so always they are moving randomly, right? Phase changing process, this phase changing process, as I just give a brief idea earlier, how the melting and how the evaporation, how the condensation is happening, isn't it? So if you take very basic examples, you know, if you place a ice cube, right? If you place a ice cube in a hot pan, okay, hot pan, that means from the hot pan, heat will go to ice cube. Then this ice cube will start to melt. Okay, that means the intermolecular bonds are breaking. Okay, intermolecular bonds are breaking, and the phase changing is happening, right? Phase change means solid to liquid. So likewise, there are different phase changing processes there. Okay, so you can still you can change the phases within the given principal phases, right? If something in solid phase, phase A, okay, so you can sometimes give energy and change to a new phase, that is B, still that is solid, is also solid. So likewise, so if it is a liquid phase is there D, sometimes you might remove some heat from energy from that D and change to new phase E. So still that could be a liquid. Likewise, right? So those are called as phase changing processes. Changing the phase, that's all. So you should know some phase changing processes, because before knowing the phase changing processes, you should know some terminologies. Okay, some terminologies used in thermodynamics. Then only you can apply those, you can understand what's happening there, right? So first we talk about the phases. Those phases are liquid and gas. Okay, because why I am not talking about solid is, so in our whatever the system, we just having a moving working fluids. Okay, so for the working fluids we are having liquid and gas. First term is compressed liquid or subcooled liquid. So I already told you that if you are having a liquid phase, whatever the substance, we can give heat to evaporate this substance. Okay, to evaporate this substance we can give energy. Okay, energy in the form of heat. In the form of heat. When you are giving an energy or the heat, suddenly when this liquid or water receive the energy, that won't suddenly evaporate. That will receive the heat until there is enough energy to break the intermolecular bonds. Okay, intermolecular bonds to release the water molecules to environment, isn't it? So that much of energy should be given. Until that, this will receive the energy and store. Sorry. So at that time, we will say this one as compressed liquid or subcooled liquid. So that means not about to vaporize. Not about to vaporize. So this example is there. You are having a piston. Inside there is a substance is there. Okay. You are giving heat. You are giving heat. So first state is 1 atm pressure and 20 degrees Celsius temperature. Okay, at that time this is not going to vaporize. This is not going to vaporize. All the time we are maintaining this pressure as 1 atm. Okay, 1 atm means outside also 1 atm, inside also we are keeping as 1 atm. Okay, pressure doesn't changes. You are just giving the heat. Next term is there, that is saturated liquid. That means about to vaporize. About to vaporize mean you heated your water. Okay, you heated your water up to a point. If you give a further little bit heat, this water will evaporate. Okay, start to evaporate. That condition. Okay, that condition. If you give a small heat, that will start to evaporate. So in that condition, that is about to vaporize. Okay, not vaporizing, but if you give a small amount of heat, that will vaporize. So that is called as about to vaporize. So that is actually the name is saturated liquid. Liquid is saturated. Right? Liquid is saturated. So you know what is a saturation, no? So if you take very simply, the saturation is if you take a cup of water and you are pouring salt. Okay, you are pouring salt and mix it. Right? So the salt will mix with the water and you can't see any salt cubes. Right? So then further you are adding salt and mixing. After a certain point, if you try to mix the salt cubes or salt in the water, that salt won't mix. Okay, because the salt water is that is in a saturation point. Okay, so that is a small example for the saturation. So such thing, right? So that is the about to vaporize. So here you can see your state 2. So in pressure 1 atm, you know the boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, when this water achieve 100 degrees Celsius, then this will start to vaporize. Okay, temperature won't change until the last drop of water molecule got vaporized, right? So that is the boiling. So at the boiling point, if you give a small amount of heat, this will start to vaporize. So that is called as about to vaporize. So this is actually the saturated liquid. And then saturated vapor. Okay, saturated vapor means about to condensate. Okay, so in the liquid you can say liquid. If the liquid is saturated, if you give a small heat, that will start to evaporate. Let's take a gaseous water molecules. Okay, gaseous water molecules. Now you are removing energy from the water molecules. Okay, when you are removing, at a point this water molecules will start to condensate everywhere. Okay, so what is a very basic example? So you are keeping a cool drink on your table. Okay, you are keeping a small cool drink on your table. Then you can see so many water. You can find so much water around the cool drink can or bottle or whatever, isn't it? So the water molecules in the atmosphere release the heat to, so the cool drink is in 10 degrees Celsius, your outside air is in 28 degrees Celsius, then heat flow will be like this from the air to cool drink. So air water molecules will release the heat to the cool drink and they will condensate around the bottle. Okay, so likewise when you are removing heat from the water vapor, that will start to condensate. So at the point about to condensate is called as saturated vapor. That means the vapor is saturated. If you release a small amount of heat, that will start to condensate, right? So you can see this one. So all the vapor are evaporated. Okay, so that means you are giving heat to the liquid water and you vaporize it. Okay, totally this one is vaporized. Temperature is 100 degrees Celsius and pressure is 1 atm. In this point also, if you release heat from your system, this system will start to condensate. Okay, start to condensate. So thus this is called as saturated vapor. Okay, earlier saturated liquid, that is about to vapor. Okay, about to vaporize. This one is about to condensate. So there is a mixture of these two phases. Okay, so saturated liquid and vapor mixture. So when you are heating up your liquid water, this liquid water you are heating up, and when it is achieve 100 degrees Celsius, this will be in saturated liquid, no? So 1 atm pressure and 100 degrees Celsius, right? So when the pressure is changing, this saturated vapor or saturated liquid temperature will change. That means the boiling point will change with the pressure, isn't it? So in higher elevations area like Nuerelia, so those kind of places, you know the pressure is lower than uh, Kilinochchi, isn't it? So from the sea level, Kilinochchi is a little bit high, and but the Nuerelia is higher than more than 500 meter, no, isn't it? So, 500 or 5,000, I don't know, I don't remember exactly. So that is more higher than here. So when height is increasing, pressure will drop, right? Pressure will drop. When the pressure drops, boiling point also drops. So in 80 degrees Celsius, you can boil your water. Okay, so these things you might have studied in your childhood. Okay, so thus we are keeping this as 1 atm and 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so then you are giving it further heat. If you give further heat, this will start to evaporate. Okay, so this evaporated water molecules are in 100 degrees Celsius, 1 atm pressure. Okay, so those are in saturated vapor condition. Okay, if you remove heat from those molecules, those will again condensate to liquid phase. Again condensate to liquid phase. Okay, so the liquid water also saturated liquid. So thus at this time we call this system as saturated liquid and vapor mixture, right? So likewise this state 3. So there will be a mixture between that. So when you are boiling your household users also, you can see that. So when that water is boiling, so water vapors are going outside and water also there. Okay, so that is the mixture of two phases, saturated liquid and saturated vapor mixture. So there is another term is there, that is superheated vapor. Superheated vapor means after vaporizing all the liquid water, if you still give the energy to the water vapor, that those water vapors kinetic energy will be increased a lot. Okay, then at that point they are called as superheated. Okay, they are called as superheated. That means, for example, to 300 1 atm pressure, 300 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when that is in 100 degrees Celsius, we called as saturated vapor. Now this is in 300 Celsius, 300 degrees Celsius. So that is very huge, right? So at that time they are called this as superheated vapor. Okay, that is actually, if you remove a small amount of heat from the superheated vapor, you can't condensate, right? So if it is a saturated vapor only, you can condensate easily, right? So you can see the graph here. So this is a very important graph. So in this graph, you can see, so up to 20 degrees Celsius to, so here all these states are there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this graph is drawn for specific volume. Okay, specific volume versus temperature. Okay, we are always measuring the inside temperature of this piston. So here you are giving heat and compressed liquids temperature is increasing up to the point to 2. State 2. At state 2, this is saturated liquid. Saturated liquid. That means 100 degrees Celsius. If you give a small amount of heat, that will start to, okay, start to vaporize. So when this substance start to vaporize also, so the vapor and liquids temperatures are same. Those won't change until all the liquids are vaporized. Your system will be in the same temperature, right? That temperature will not increase, okay, up to the last drop of water or whatever the substance get evaporated. Okay, after that the vapor will get the heat from your energy source and they will try to escape from the place, right? So that is actually called as superheated vapor. Okay, so those are very high energy vapor. We use this in steam power plants. Did you hear about the steam power plants? We are using big size boilers to get the power output, no, turbine runnings. So in that steam power plants and steam plants, or whatever the steam plant, or it could be used in some food industries also. Boilers are used, no, to heat up the milk or whatever. So in that time they are using steam. Okay, they are using the steam. When they are using the steam, so those are superheated steams. Okay, so not only that steam power plants, if you see the air conditioning system also, in the evaporator, the refrigerant is receiving the heat. Okay, receiving the heat and evaporate and that will become as a superheated vapor, right? Superheated vapor. So those applications we will study later. So if you know these terminologies only, you can understand whatever the stuff coming in the future. Okay, for the analysis. Okay, so the saturation temperature is at given pressure. Okay, that means when you are heating up your container, inside pressure should not change. Okay, that earlier also we maintained as 1 atm pressure. We are not changing the pressure, then the temperature at which the pure substance changes phase. So that means it could melt. Okay, it could melt, or it could condense, or it could evaporate, or whatever the phase changes, there should be a phase change should happen, okay, in a certain temperature. At that time, your pressure should be constant, okay. So there's another concept, that is saturation pressure. So as earlier, now the temperature shouldn't change, okay. If you keep it in room temperature, that should be in room temperature. All the system should be in room temperature, okay. So the pressure, the temperature doesn't changes, but you are changing the pressure, okay. The pressure could be in 3 atm, right? So that is depend on your application. So those are called as saturation temperature and saturation pressure, right? So there's another terminology is there, that is latent heat. So the latent heat is when you are having a phase changing process, okay. Phase changing process. Phase changing process means that could be changed one phase to another phase in solid state, or solid to liquid, or liquid to gas, or gas to liquid, or liquid to solid, whatever the phase change process. If there is a phase change process, that will consume or release, okay. That process will consume or release a certain amount of heat, okay, certain amount of heat from the process. So that is actually called as latent heat, right? So there is a table is given, okay, that is temperature and saturation pressure. So the temperature doesn't changes, but you are changing the phase. That means for the water, okay, for the water, you are not changing the temperature, but differentiate the pressure. You are making difference in the pressure. So you can increase the pressure or decrease the pressure, whatever you can do, but temperature doesn't change. If it is in minus 10 degrees Celsius, you are not changing the temperature of the system. If you take like that and get the vaporizing pressure, that means the saturation pressure, when this achieving the saturation pressure for the minus 10 degrees Celsius, saturation pressure for the water is 0.26 kilopascal. Normally, for the room temperature, 100 kilopascal is the saturation pressure. So you can see when the temperature is decreased, saturation pressure also decrease. So when the temperature increased 300 degrees Celsius, saturation pressure is 8,581 kilopascal. Okay. So when you are increasing the temperature, okay, you are keeping the temperature is in same point, and you are changing the pressure. You should have a bigger pressure for that water to boil. Oh, so what does that mean? If you keep a very big pressure inside your system, you can go up to higher temperatures to make it to change the phase. Okay, it's very basic example is there in your kitchens. Pressure cookers. Okay, pressure cookers. In the pressure cookers, what happens? You are increasing the interior pressure of your cooker, no? So you are not maintaining in 100 degrees, no, the 1 atm pressure. You are having more than 3 atm pressures. Okay. If it is at 3 atm pressure, then it will take up to not 3 atm. It's about more than 3 atm, right? So then you can go up to 200 degrees Celsius or whatever inside temperature. Then easily you can cook. Your water will not boil. That will get too much temperature inside the system. Okay, so very easily you can cook it, right? So that's a saturation temperature and saturation pressure list. Any doubts until now?
Yes.
No doubts. Okay, this is just some terminologies. Okay, we are going to use these terms later, right? So likewise, this temperature and pressure curves are there. Okay, so as we earlier had a curve like this, no, for a boiling of water. Okay, so take a pan and put some water there, right, and give a heat. You are having this curve. Okay, so from 20 degrees Celsius you are giving heat, that is called as compressed liquid. At a point this will start to evaporate. Just before starting of evaporation, this called as saturated liquid. Okay, liquid is saturated, about to vaporize, right? So then still if you give some heat, that will vaporize. So then you will have a mixture, that is saturated liquid and vapor mixture. After that, all the single dot from the container get evaporated. Okay, and still this molecule, this water vapor is in 100 degrees Celsius, 1 atm pressure. This is called as saturated vapor, right? Then after, when you are giving more heat to that, this internal energy will increase and kinetic energy of the molecules will increase. That is called as superheated vapor, right? Superheated vapor. So this is for which pressure? 1 atm pressure. That means atmospheric pressure. Then we are going to plot for different pressures. Okay, you can see this is 0.01 megapascal. This one 0.1 megapascal, 1 megapascal. Okay, 8 megapascal. Likewise, we are increasing the interior pressure, okay, of the substance, and still we are giving heat to that. So then we will get this kind of phenomenon, or this kind of changing of temperature and specific volume diagram. Okay, so you can see there's a critical point. Okay, there's a critical point. Up to the critical point, there will be a straight line. The straight line, what that straight line mentions? Straight line mention about the saturated vapor and liquid mixture. Okay, so after this critical point, there is no such mixture. So if you give a heat in higher higher pressures, okay, that will straightly the water liquid will, without no transient mode, all the liquid will change suddenly as steam. Okay, so that you can draw a small line there. I am connecting those lines. Okay, connecting those saturated vapor and saturated liquid line. So in this region, saturated liquid plus vapor. Okay, in this region, saturated compressed liquid. After this region, superheated vapor. Okay, superheated vapor. So in this line, in this red line I am drawing now, this is saturated liquid. Okay, in this line, what is this? Saturated vapor. Saturated vapor, right? So actually that is here. That is here. TV diagram. So these are some charts, okay, or diagrams to show the process. So these diagrams are called as property diagrams. Okay, these diagrams are called as property diagrams. So different property diagrams are there. PV chart, pressure, volume chart, temperature, volume or specific volume, whatever, right? TB diagram or PS diagrams are there. So TS diagrams, PS diagram. So much of diagrams are there. Okay. So you should know these diagrams will give you a graph. With that graph, you can analyze what is the changing and in which position these things are there. How can we convert this processor into usable work? So such things. Okay. In a similar problem, we will use the PV diagram. Okay, PV, pressure and volume, pressure and specific volume change. Okay, what we are going to do is in this problem, for this problem, we are going to make temperature as constant. Okay, we are keeping the interior temperature as constant. So if it is in 25 degrees Celsius, that 25 degrees Celsius will not change. You are going to increase the pressure. Okay, when you are increasing the pressure, what will happen? Okay, at which point your vapor will start to condensate. Okay, or if we are having a fluid, we are going to reduce the pressure. Okay, pressure inside the system, but temperature does not change. That is not going to change. Okay, when release the pressure, okay, that means when we are releasing the pressure from your system, but how it's going to change? Okay, you are not going to change the temperature. Okay, earlier we have changed the temperature but not the pressure. Pressures are constant. Here temperatures are constant, pressure is going to change. If you take a cup of water and compress it, okay, if you take a cup of water and compress it, no changes will be there, okay, because water is a incompressible fluid, right? If you compress it, nothing will not going to happen, right? But you can reduce the pressure of the that given water, okay. When you are reducing the pressure, you can see what is happening. Just follow this line. It's going like this. So when vapor and liquid, saturated vapor and liquid phase is coming, there is no pressure changes, okay, until the last drop of water vapor evaporated, okay. Then in the superheated region also, when you are increasing the uh, when you are decreasing the inside pressure, that will go in this way, this manner, okay, that will follow. So actually this is the PV diagram, property diagram, okay. So there's a phase diagram is given. So all these things are joined with the phase changing process now. Phase changing process means changing the phases. So in this region, that is solid, here vapor, and this one is liquid, okay. This is the concept. So here you are increasing the temperature in this direction. This is the change of pressure. Pressure, how the pressure is going to change, okay. So you take a solid, okay. The vapor can be in lower temperature to higher temperatures, okay. So in 0 degree Celsius also you can see water vapors, isn't it? If you open your fridge, so that is about 4 degrees Celsius or whatever, or the refrigerator, that is in minus degrees sometimes, okay. Some ice cubes are forming now, so that should be in minus 4 or 5 degrees. At that time also you can see water vapor, isn't it? Water vapor inside the area. So water vapor can be exist in whatever the temperatures, right? So if you increase that temperature of the water, right, the solid will not melt up to a point, okay, up to a point. So up to that point is the starting of melting, okay, starting of melting, okay. This is a melting line. So after this melting line, this will become as liquid, okay. This is for the substances that expand on freezing. So if you take ice cube, if you freeze it, the volume of the ice cube will increase. That is, you know, isn't it? So such thing in your childhood you might have studied. For some substances, not like that, okay. So when you are increasing the temperature of that volume will increase. When it's decreased further and further, that will decrease, okay. For the ice kind of some different compositions, that will be changing, okay. So the intermolecular bonds are changing. So because of that, everything will be changing, right? So you can see with that one, solid to vapor, solid to liquid, liquid to vapor. Okay, so such things are there, right? So we will discuss this one. So if you change the solid phase from the solid phase to vapor form, so that means you can see in the camphor, isn't it? In the camphor, if you place the camphor in a table without melting, that will be disappeared, isn't it? So that is called as sublimation. Okay, that's a process is called as sublimation. So that is you are breaking the intermolecular bonds in the lattice, and directly you are sending it to a random movement. Okay, no melting is there. Still, that can melt it with a certain heat. Okay, you can melt it with a certain heat. So that is the breaking the bond. We are breaking the bond, but not fully. Okay, if we fully break all the bonds between the molecules only, those will have the random motion or the random movements, right? So we are still restricting the movement, but we are breaking the intermolecular forces, right? So that is melting. When a solid melts to liquid, right? So that process is called as melting. So likewise, liquid to vapor be called as vaporization. Okay, that means giving heat and vaporize it. So as these property diagrams, property tables also there. Okay, I will show one property table to you, and you should know another terminology, that is enthalpy. Okay, enthalpy is the total heat. So that is normally we can define as combination property of internal heat and pressure, volume multiplication. Okay, that means H is equal to U plus PV. This is the specific volume. Okay, specific volume. So that means if you have a substance in a given container, okay, if it is flowing or not flowing, whatever, right? Whatever, if you keep it there, that molecules will have a certain internal energy, and because of exerting pressure and volume, those will have a energy. Okay, so addition of these both stuffs are called as enthalpy. Okay, so when we are analyzing the property tables and property diagrams, we consider about this enthalpy readings, because those will give us the better understanding of the calculations, right? So no need to worry about too much. Okay, these are some introduction. When we are doing the questions, this will not be a big issue, right? I can show you a property table. Okay, this is from one book. There is a property table. Okay. Okay, property table will be like this. For each and every thing in given. Okay. So this is for ideal gases, right? Ideal gases in given temperature. What is the CPCV values, K values? So CPCV, I think we didn't study. Okay, you can see here. This is a steam table called as saturated water temperature table. Okay, for given temperatures, in given temperatures, you can see how the saturated pressure changes. Okay, and then specific volume also you can find. Okay, no need to calculate everything. Most of the things are available in the property tables. Okay, what we are going to do is, we read the question, understand it, so what they are going to say, and then come to the property table and use the property table to get the numerical values, and add and divide or whatever, and then calculate it. That's all. Okay, all the enthalpy values, entropy values, internal energy values, specific volumes, and saturated pressure stuffs, everything will be available. Let's say for the if someone asks for what is the saturated pressure for the 50 degrees Celsius, okay, for a saturated water, okay, then come to saturated water table and 50 degrees Celsius, okay, 12.35 kilopascal. That is the answer. Likewise, so this one saturated water temperature. Okay, this is one pressure table. Earlier we talk about the temperature table. This is pressure table. Pressure is constant. Okay, you are not changing the pressure. You keep the pressure in same amount of stuff and finding what is the saturated temperature for that one, right? So when we are doing the question, we can understand how to use these property tables. Okay, so no need to worry about that one. Okay. Anyone having any doubts?
Okay.
Yes.
No, sir.
No doubts. Okay, then we can finish this session for now. Okay, so I don't want to talk too much because you will be get bored. I will share this video also.